Finally, after all these years, we caught the Jigsaw killer. How long's he going away for, boss? Damn it, Johnson, I just got word. We got nothing to stick him with. He's gonna walk. What do you mean? He murdered dozens of innocent people. Yeah, but he never directly killed any of them. All he did was give him a choice. The most we can charge him with is kidnapping, and even that's a stretch. What about trafficking, endangerment, possession of an illegal firearm? Damn it, Johnson, he's old and he's got cancer. No jury would ever convict him. What about jaywalking or illegal parking? Damn it, this can't be happening. He's dodging all of our charges.
Law school professor here. I show these films as examples in my lectures, and I pose a challenge to my students. Make a case against Jigsaw. Any case. So far, none have succeeded. The writers thought everything through.
Former prosecutor here. These films were shown in law school as a way to get discussion going as to the nuances and gray areas in law. They were meant to provoke debate, but frankly, there's no debate to be had. We ran hundreds of simulations, prosecuting Jigsaw from every angle you can think of. And guess what? Jigsaw walked, every time. The legal precision these movies have is like nothing I've ever seen. Nobody would take this case and risk losing their legal license. If I were to attempt to prosecute Jigsaw, I would be laughed out of the court. Your lawyer friend is right.
Former ICJ judge here. Technically, he can be charged with taking people from one location to another one without their explicit will and signature. It is also true that he can be charged with putting people in situations that bear the risk of bodily injury and potentially fatal consequences. However, and this is important in understanding how such people are convicted, Jigsaw's intentions also fall into the equation, which means that he A. intends to teach his victims a lesson for life and thus make them better persons. B. He gives them explicit instructions how to learn that lesson, and C. He acts without malice. Moreover, on the aspect of kidnapping, evidence obviously would show that he is too frail to actively kidnap someone. Ergo, this would be instantly dropped in a serious court. The chances of him being convicted of murder, let alone kidnapping, are extremely low, 0.5% tops.
Guy who works at the local DA's office here. We have done workshops about unbeatable scenarios that the state would have an almost impossible, if not actually impossible, time in prosecuting successfully. The Jigsaw scenario is what we use for the perfect crime. A workshop where about 30 veteran attorneys and prosecutors were at could not come up with a plan of attack to actually put Jigsaw away. The best one person got, she was a woman in fact, was charging him with misdemeanor forcible confinement, and getting a conviction even on that would cost the state millions. The public would never accept it. Basically a slap on the wrist anyway. Trust me, Jigsaw's defense is bulletproof.
At our law firm, we conduct mock trials to sharpen our courtroom skills. Jigsaw is the defendant in these trials, and the best criminal defense attorneys act as the prosecution. We assign associates that just passed the bar to act as the defense counsel, and the managing partner acts as the judge. In the 5 years that we've had these trials, the prosecution has never come close to convicting Jigsaw. One time we even used one of the janitors that cleaned the office as a defense attorney for Jigsaw, and he still beat all of the charges. Cracking the Jigsaw defense is like the holy grail of criminal law. It just can't be done.
John Kramer, you are under arrest for the crimes wait, what were the charges now again? Abduction, setting traps. There were bear traps, not man traps. He lives in the Hampshires, where black bears are known to lurk and wander into homes sometimes. It wasn't his fault an officer broke into his house without a warrant and tripped the trap. Kidnapping to start, and I'm pretty sure shotgun booby traps are illegal in most states, if not all. Supreme Court Justice here. We often do mock debates over pop culture issues to sharpen up before a session. The Jigsaw issue has always been untouchable. One of my students argued that you might be able to fine him for littering, but even that seemed like a little bit of a stretch. It's genuinely impossible to convict him. He didn't kill anybody. He just led them into situations where they had the full autonomy to escape. It's like saying somebody's a murderer because they took someone to the Grand Canyon and they chose to jump off the edge and die. Slices cop's throat open with a knife. That was his twin brother. Obvious self-defense. Unreliable narrator, Danny Glover is a liar. Didn't cut him deep enough to kill. Keep coping. He didn't appreciate his throat enough. The choice to not get knifed was simple. The cop chose to let him do it. Sir, you have hired people to kidnap others and place them in torture chambers. It was their choice! They were allowed to leave at any time. One of the first traps in the first movie, the one with Amanda Young, she had a deadly device strapped to her head. The video's instructions were to cut open the stomach of her previous cellmate from her time in prison to get a key. The video claims her cellmate was dead. Jigsaw arranged a way for two people to enter a trap and only one to live. Mr. Kramer, were you under the belief that this man was already dead when you used him for your trap? None of you shills can bring up a single case where the victim could have escaped unharmed. Amanda literally did that. Boom. Done. Jigsaw sets up several games where someone either has to kill another person or die themselves. In this situation, Jigsaw has rigged it so that someone has to die. This is murder if the person refuses to kill another, or murder by proxy if they choose to kill someone to save their own life. Murder by proxy wouldn't work. Both of the participants clearly consented to their actions and chose to be where they are. He didn't kill anyone, he just gave people a choice. In the first movie, he personally leaves a man to starve at the end. That alone counts as manslaughter. That man could have chosen to eat. How is him dying Jigsaw's fault? Wrong. On several occasions, a completely innocent person is kidnapped and put into a trap, and they simply have no choice in the matter. They have no participation in the game outside being a piece of it. The intended participant either has to kill that person or they die themselves. There is no situation in which both can live. This is either murder if the participant refuses to kill an innocent person, or murder by proxy if they do. If they kill the person, the murder's on them. If they choose to die, it's suicide. Either way, Jiggy walks free. I don't like it any more than you do. He, at the very least, kidnapped people and endangered them by forcing them into dangerous situations. Didn't he get his helper to kidnap the people? If the helper doesn't get caught or rat him out, there's no way he can be charged. All he did was create eccentric art pieces which people happened to be placed in and killed in. But this is wrong, retard. If you put two people in a situation where one of them has to die, that death is on you, regardless of how it happened. There was the guy who had the bomb strapped on him, and he was told either he went and robbed a bank or the bomb would explode and kill him. He robbed the bank, but the bomb exploded and killed him anyway due to failing to get it disarmed in time. The people who put the bomb on him were sentenced to prison both for armed robbery, even though they themselves did not actually rob the bank, and murder, even though the guy could have lived if he did a better job. Same shit would apply to Jigsaw, along with a whole bunch of other crimes he commits in the process. I challenge anyone to name a worse meme than this one. I'm not denying he has a legal defense with his main victims. At most, he can be tried with kidnapping or reckless endangerment. But when the police were serving the arrest warrant on him, his booby traps will be held against him. See Catco v. Briney. The other deaths are irrelevant. He would still be tried for the officer deaths. Your father might need to brush up on case law. Catco v. Briney. 183rd Northwest 2nd District 657, Iowa, in the year of 1971, was a court case decided by the Iowa Supreme Court, in which two homeowners, Edward and Bertha Briney, were held liable for battery for injuries caused to a trespasser, Mr. Marvin Catco, who set off a spring gun set as a man trap in an abandoned house on the homeowner's property. The case thereafter received wide attention in legal circles, becoming a staple of tort law casebooks and law school courses. Your Honor, my client had an inoperable tumor on his brain, which rendered him momentarily insane. In light of this information, I request the motion to throw out this case and clear his name. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know that John Kramer is not a perfect man, but his motives are noble and his actions are justified. He has been through a great deal himself, and I think it's clear he's just trying to help people. In the end, he has never killed anyone, and every victim knew what they were getting into when they agreed to take part in the games. So, please, let's not punish a man for trying to make the world a better place. Let's set John Kramer free. The genius of John Kramer is that he never actually murdered anyone. He always gave them a choice. At most, he could only be charged with kidnapping. Not even kidnapping, because he only played games with adults. Murder. He put people in a trap with a time limit. He did not give people the option to enter the trap in the first place. He kidnaps and puts people in a trap and gives them a way out, but the timer has already begun against their will, thus killing them, thus making him a murderer. He literally gives them a way to escape. Doesn't matter. I could tie you up and have a mechanism that slowly lowers a knife into you until you die, but you have a means to escape through self-harm. If you died, it would still be murder. If someone falls into my pool and decides they would rather drown than walk to the shallow end, then I'm not charged with murder just because someone chose to die. If you tied someone to a slab of concrete and pushed them into the pool after telling them they could escape, they dislocated all their joints, is a more accurate analogy. It would also be murder. Truth is, everyone has a choice. When I pull my gun and shoot someone, it isn't murder because they had the choice to fight back and not die. Jigsaw is a Darwinist and would agree that if you didn't fight back hard enough when getting murdered, then it wasn't murder. You just died like a bitch, fella. Good Samaritan laws offer legal protection to people who give reasonable assistance to those who are or whom they believe to be injured, ill, imperiled, or otherwise incapacitated. The protection is intended to reduce bystanders' hesitation to assist for fear of being sued or prosecuted for unintentional injury or wrongful death. Jigsaw was intervening to help this man. Without him stepping in, he would have led an existentially meaningless life. This black letter law protects Jigsaw in literally everything he does. Also, because he has a brain tumor, Kramer cannot be found guilty by reason of insanity. Either defense is ironclad. He can make his choice. No prosecutor would bother to press charges. Jiggy should be compensated by his efforts to improve the lives of so many people. Truly despicable that he's portrayed as a villain. Those of us who understand basic law know that A, he's innocent of any wrongdoing, and B, he's actually the hero. I am not a judge or a jury, but I can tell you this. He only offered people a choice to change their lives. And that, my friends, is called integrity. That's called courage. Now that's the stuff that leaders should be made of. Now, I've come to the crossroads in my life. I always knew what the right path was. Without exception, I knew. But I never took it. You know why? It was too damn hard. Now, here's Jiggy. He's come to the crossroads. He has chosen a path. It's the right path. It's a path made of principle that leads to character. Let him continue on his journey. You hold Jiggy's future in your hands. And it's a valuable future, believe me. Don't destroy it. Protect it. Embrace it. It's gonna make you proud one day, I promise you. Counterpoint, Charles Manson. Fuck you and your retarded thread. Hold it! Kidnapping. Jigsaw often abducts people against their will and forces them into his deadly games. False imprisonment. By trapping his victims in various contraptions or confined spaces, Jigsaw limits their movements and effectively imprisons them. 3. Torture. Jigsaw subjects his victims to various forms of physical and psychological torture during his games. 4. Assault. The traps Jigsaw sets up often cause severe harm, injury, or even death to his victims, which could be considered assault. 5. Attempted murder / murder. If Jigsaw's victims fail his tests or are unable to escape his traps, they often face lethal consequences, resulting in either attempted murder or murder charges. Torture. They can leave anytime they wanted. Cutting your own wrists is not technically torture. Conspiracy. Such a reach, dude. Come on. Resistance to state authority, aka refuting the false claims put against him by the state. Self-defense. Assault on state authority. Dude, Jigsaw is a model citizen. Sparsian? Your Honor, that sounds retarded. Drug use. Bringing up someone's irrelevant vices in court in order to attack their character. Wow, that's just a yikes for me. Murder in the first, murder in the second. People killing themselves on his property is not murder. Aggravated battery. Talk shit, get hit. Come on. Mess with the bull, get the horns. We know this. We're not allowed to have emotion and respond to something. Self-defense. Grievous bodily harm. It's not his fault. He has cancer. Nor is it a crime. Kidnapping. At no point did Jigsaw interfere with youthful slumber. Unlike some of these tablets, where's Steve Jobs? Oh, he's dead. Oh, is that murder now too? I don't think so. Coercion, improvable. I mean, honestly. Threat, he said, she said. Theft, never happened. And if it did, the insane U.S. healthcare system forced him to. I mean, do we not see Breaking Bad? Come on, people, it's 2023, for God's sake. Criminal mischief. Having a dope little puppet that trolls people is hardly a crime, more of a prank, really. Causing an explosive blast. Objection. Denial of assistance. Objection. Blackmail. Giving people a choice. It's not legal. Child endangerment. The kid was safe. He even gave him oxygen in case he was asthmatic. More like child welfarement, if you ask me. Breaking and entering. Jigsaw is notoriously clumsy. No one's gonna fault a cancer patient for his tremors. Fraud. Wow. Says the district attorney attacking the reputation of a dying man. It's very obvious and boring bait. You would have to be an actual infant to believe he could get away with anything. Charles Manson was convicted of 7 counts of murders, despite not committing any of them, not being anywhere near the scenes of the crimes, and not even asking his subordinates to do them. They just did them on their own because they thought that's what he wanted. Jiggy would get the chair, no question. Even if his only trap was the Amanda Steel jaw where nobody died, he would still very likely get 20 to life for that. Charles Manson was arrested despite not committing any murder or doing anything illegal, really. So I'm sure the legal system can just arrest Jigsaw as well because of public hysteria. Greetings. You may be seated. John, you're probably wondering why you are here. I'll tell you why. You might be in the room that you get sentenced to. because you abduct people, choosing ones you feel are guilty by your questionable moral standards, and leave them into cleverly engineered traps devised by yourself. Because the traps are highly mentally and physically demanding, and many of them outright impossible to escape from. Most of your victims never come out alive. If you look around, you are in a court of law right now. Persecution wants you behind bars for several lifetimes. They have tapes with your voice in it, your DNA all over the crime scene. To your defense is only a low-level, corrupt lawyer that has bear trap attached to his testicles, which will go off in the event of your arrest. Abduction or murder, Mr. Kramer, the choice is mine. Let the hearing begin. Not guilty.
You caught me. Well done, What are the charges?
That chick's head is torn in half by a bear trap. You can't talk your way out of this one, Jigsaw.
My client cannot be blamed for the decisions of others. She had access to the key. She chose not to use it. You have reckless endangerment at most.
Lawyer this. Now to kill the true monster. Court adjourned.
Mr. Anon, for far too long you've been obsessed with my so-called crimes. So intent with pushing guilt onto me, an innocent man, that you've done the unthinkable and killed 2 people in a public courtroom. How does it feel to have blood on your hands, murderer? Because that shotgun blast certainly did coat your skin in my blood. But what you didn't know is that before this trial, I laced my blood with a toxic poison. A poison similar to the hate that's been flowing through your veins for years. Can you feel it seeping into your skin, already burning and seething? But this isn't some final act of petty rage, no. This is a trial. One of the jury present within this courtroom is a plant, an actor who carries with them an antidote to your affliction. However, they're not going to give it up so easily. The antidote has been stitched into their stomach, and the only way to remove it is by killing the actor. Now you find yourself in a dilemma. Will you slaughter what you consider to be an innocent man to save yourself? Or will you let your blind, twisted morality lead you to an early, painful grave? Live or die, the choice is yours.
No, let me out! No, it's bulletproof. Open up your shirt.